Today we're talking about attractions in Taiwan and the US. And so we're going to look at some places in Taiwan and then similar places in the US, right? And what we're going to practice today is describing these places. And to describe something, I want you to remember these 3 steps. We learned these when talking about food, but you can use this for anything. First, give it a name. So give a name to the thing. If you don't know the English name, that's okay. Just tell them in Chinese. For places, there usually is an English name, but if you're not sure, that's okay. Just try your best. Give some sort of name. And then number 2, describe it. Tell about that thing. What is it? What kind of place is it? And then add details is number 3, where you can add any kinds of details. Maybe tell more about the place or tell how you have some connection to that place. Maybe say what makes it special to you. If you want to ask your friend for advice or recommendations, you can use these questions to get some help. Maybe you're visiting the United States and your friend has been there before. You could ask them, where do you think I should go? Okay? You could ask, where should I go? But if you say, where do you think I should go, it sounds a little bit closer, a little bit more friendly. Okay? Another way to ask this is, oh, where should I head to? Head to is another way to say go. So maybe you have the weekend free and you say, hey, where should I head to? Okay? And all of these are asking for recommendations. So you could ask, what should I check out? Check out is another way to say look at something or see something or try something out. What should I check out? What do you think? And then if you want to use the word recommend or recommendation, you could say, what places do you recommend? So maybe you're in Tokyo and you say, hey, what places do you recommend? And last but not least, you could say, do you have any recommendations? That's kind of general. You could use that for anything. Do you have any recommendations? If you want to add more, you could say, do you have any recommendations on where to go? Or do you have any recommendations on what to see? All of these are great. Okay? So let's take a look at some places in Taiwan and then the places in America. First up is Yushan. And first is give it a name. What's the name? Well, the name is Yushan. And you could say, oh, you could visit a mountain called Yushan. So imagine your friend asks you one of those questions from before. Hey, where do you think I should go? And you can say, oh, you could visit a mountain called Yushan. So the name of this sounds just like the Chinese, right? And that's because that's the name. You don't need to translate it. I've seen it translated as Jade Mountain, but a lot of times it's just better to use the Chinese. And using Yushan written in pinyin like this is actually more common. Okay? So give it a name. Hey, you could visit a mountain called Yushan. And then next up is describe it. It's the tallest mountain in Taiwan. Okay? Pretty simple, right? And then add some details. Come on. You could talk about your experience. So for me, I've never climbed it, but it's supposed to be amazing. Number 3, add details. It's always good to add something fun or maybe something connected to you personally. I've never climbed it, but it's supposed to be amazing. So you've heard that it's really great. Okay? Now, what is similar to Yushan in America? Well, we have Denali. I've never been here. You probably won't visit, but it's similar to Yushan and it's super famous in America. So, if someone asks for advice, number 1, give it a name. Oh, you could visit a mountain called Denali. Oh, really? What's that? Describe it. It's the tallest mountain in the US. It's in Alaska. So, Yangmingshan is the tallest mountain in America. Denali, sorry. Yangmingshan is the tallest mountain in Taiwan. Denali is the tallest mountain in the US. And it's in Alaska. So, it's far to the north. So, I've never been, but add some details. My college roommate climbed it. It's supposed to be super hard. So you can see the mountain. It's covered in snow. My college roommate climbed this mountain, and that's crazy. Like, he had to wear winter clothes and boots for climbing on ice and using ice picks to climb up. Oh my gosh, pretty wild, right? So I don't know if I'll ever get to visit Denali, but it's pretty cool, right? And maybe you have a friend who likes hiking and climbing. They might like this, okay? What's another thing in Taiwan that we can talk about? Another famous one is Taroko Gorge. So Duffy mentioned that they like Hualien, right? So this is in Hualien, and Taroko Gorge is this beautiful place, right? And so when someone visits Taiwan, this should be one of the first things you recommend, I think. So your friend says, "Ooh, I'm visiting Taiwan. What should I check out?" You could say, "You should visit Taroko Gorge." So give it a name. Keep it simple. So Tailuge in English is Taroko Gorge. Now the word gorge is this shape where it's a river that goes through rocks and cliffs. Now, a gorge is almost the same as a canyon. A gorge is usually skinny. A canyon is really wide. So this is Taroko Gorge. So you should visit Taroko Gorge. And then they say, "What the heck is that?" And then describe it. It's a gorgeous place to visit in Hualien with lots of beautiful mountains, rocks, and rivers. So tell them what it is. It's a gorgeous place to visit. Tell them where it is in Hualien, and tell them what it has, with lots of beautiful mountains, rocks, and rivers. Okay? So lots of information in one sentence. We have what is it, where is it, what does it have? So pretty good sentence. And then add some more details. When I visited, my friend and I rented a car. I think that's the best way to see it. So this is another personal connection. You tell some details of when you went to that place and maybe give them some advice. So my friend and I, we hired a driver to drive us around. Oh, maybe we should say it that way. Instead of rented a car, hired a driver. That makes it more clear, right? Rented a car could sound like I was driving. So my friend and I hired a driver. I think that's the best way to see it. So it was a little bit expensive. I think it was $3,000, but it was for the whole day, and the driver drove us around, and we didn't have to drive on the scary roads, and it was a lot of fun. So 3, add details. You can add a personal touch, some advice that you've tried before. Okay? Now, what's similar to Taroko in America? Well, the Grand Canyon. A gorge and a canyon are kind of similar. Like I said before, a gorge is thin, a canyon is really wide. And so, your friend visits America, and I don't know where to go. Where should I go? You could say, you could visit the Grand Canyon in Arizona. Arizona is in the southwest. And then your friend, maybe they don't know exactly what that is. Oh, I think I've heard of that. What is it? Describe it. It's an enormous canyon formed by the Colorado River. So what is it? It's an enormous canyon. Enormous means super, super big. And how was it made? It was formed by, so formed is kind of like made by, but it maybe took a long time. Formed by the Colorado River. Duffy has a question. Gorge versus canyon versus valley. Okay. Now, good question. So, a gorge and a canyon, both of them are formed by rivers. So the land, millions of years ago, the land was flat. But there was a river going over the land. Over time, the river dug the ground until it made this deep, deep shape in the ground. So a gorge and a canyon, they are rock. It's rock that has been taken away by a river. And so the Taroko Gorge was formed by that river in Hualien. The Grand Canyon was formed by the Colorado River. Now, what is a valley? A valley is a little bit different. It's not that it was formed by a river. A valley means a flat land between mountains. So there's a mountain on one side, a mountain on the other, and then a valley in the middle. But it doesn't mean that it was made by the river. Okay? So, good question. The mountains on both sides means valley. Gorge and canyon were made by rivers. The rivers dug away that stone or that rock. Okay? Good question. So the Grand Canyon, it's an enormous canyon formed by the Colorado River. And then you can add some details. I've never been, but I want to go. It looks incredible. So there's that personal connection. I've seen many, many pictures of this, but I haven't visited yet. Have you? I know some of you have visited America before. I haven't been to the Grand Canyon, though. Okay, let's take a look at a couple others. In Taiwan, we have Yangmingshan National Park. And this is a really nice place that has lots and lots of mountains. And so, if your friend says, hey, what should I do if I'm in northern Taiwan? You could say, oh, you should visit Yangmingshan. And they say, oh, I don't really know what that is. Could you describe it? You can say, oh, it's a national park close to Taipei. It's a great place for an easy hike. So I love Yangmingshan. There are lots of cool areas to visit. And so it's a national park close to Taipei. A national park is a park that is protected by the government of the country, right? So all of this area, all those mountains are protected by the government. And it's a great place for an easy hike. So here in this picture, this is a popular area, okay? Now, what about add details? Well, you can always make a personal connection, something about you or your experience. But you can also add some fun information, like this, the wildlife. So at Yangmingshan, oh, you can see wildlife there too. There are big cows that wander in the fields. So this is a photo I took, and I love the cows. They're really fun and cute. And so yeah, wildlife means the animals that live there. So you can see wildlife there. Okay? Now, what's a similar place to visit in America? If you're visiting America, I might tell you to see Rocky Mountain National Park. This is a really nice place. So someone is like, I want to go to the US, but I don't know where to go. What do you recommend? I might say, you should visit Rocky Mountain National Park. And so, give it a name. Just keep it simple, right? And then the person goes, oh, okay, what's that? It's a mountain range in Colorado. You can drive through the park and enjoy the scenery. So mountain range is kind of like Yangmingshan. It's not just one mountain, it's many, many mountains together. A mountain range. So many mountains. And you can drive through the park and enjoy the scenery. And so I went here with my parents a couple of years ago. My sister lived in Colorado for a while. And so when I visited, we visited this park, and it's absolutely gorgeous. You drive through, look at the mountains, drive further, look at more mountains. Whew, it's awesome. And then add details. You can add some more personal things or something fun, like the wildlife. Yangmingshan has the cows. Rocky Mountains have. You can see wildlife there too. There are big rams that wander on the hills. So, in the background of this picture, of course, you can see the mountains, but you can call these hills. A hill means kind of like a small mountain. It's not as tall. And so in this national park, there are lots of animals like these rams. And I was lucky to take this picture when I was there. And they're pretty cool. They look pretty relaxed, right? It's a national park, so they're protected, and so they can hang out and rest. The people won't bother them. Duffy says, Yellowstone National Park, you can see wild bulls. In those animals in Yellowstone, those are not bulls. A bull is a male cow. In Yellowstone, usually you would see buffalo. A buffalo is like the famous American animal. They're really hairy, they're furry, they're pretty cool. Yeah, so maybe in Yellowstone you might be able to see wild buffalo. Okay? So in Rocky Mountain National Park, you can see big rams. What else do we have? Maybe your friend likes to go somewhere warm. They don't want to go to the mountains. They don't want to see those animals. They want to go somewhere nice and warm. So you could say, if your friend likes going to the beach, going to the ocean, you could say, one, give it a name. You should check out Kending in the south of Taiwan. So like we said before, check out means go see something. So you can say, oh yeah, you should check out Kending in the south of Taiwan. And in English, it's written with a T, but you don't have to say Kenting. You could say it like Chinese, Kending, and both are okay, up to you. And then your friend might ask you to describe it. So you can say, it's a national park that has lots of beautiful beaches. So say what it is. It's a national park. Then a description. It has lots of beautiful beaches. And so it's another national park, a place protected by the government. Okay? And then add details. Maybe you could talk more specifically and tell what they have there. And say, so if you say one big place like Kending, maybe you want to focus in a smaller place for the detail. And so you could say, one really popular beach is called Baishawan. You can go there for a swim. Okay? So this is a really popular beach down in Kending. Now, what do we have in America that's similar to Kending? Well, there are lots of places where you can go to the beach. Maybe some people go to Florida. But near my hometown, let's talk about Massachusetts. In Massachusetts, where I grew up, there's a place called Cape Cod. And Cape Cod is where everybody goes in the summertime to go to the beach. And so if your friend likes the beach and getting out during the summertime, you can recommend Cape Cod. Oh, if I'm visiting Massachusetts in the summer, where should I go? You could say, you should check out Cape Cod in Massachusetts. Now, Cape Cod is this part of Massachusetts. Massachusetts is the state that I grew up in. Boston is the city, right? And Cape Cod is this part that sticks out into the ocean. It looks like an arm, right? And so people go there during the summertime. So you should check out Cape Cod in Massachusetts. And then 2, describe it. Well, it's a popular place for people to visit in the summer. There are a lot of cool towns and nice beaches there. So this is a place that's really special to me. When I was growing up, my family visited Cape Cod almost every summer. And my grandparents bought a house on Cape Cod. So that's where they lived. We would visit them pretty often and then go stay with them during the summertime. And there are lots of little towns on Cape Cod and lots of interesting places, lots of nice beaches, lots of cool things to see. And so maybe you want to give more detail about Cape Cod. You could say, like I said before, when you're describing things, give some personal touch, personal information. So you can say, I would say, my family and I used to go to Popponesset Beach all the time. So on Cape Cod, there's one place called Popponesset. Crazy name, right? Popponesset. In Massachusetts, there are lots of really long names. That's because a lot of the names come from Native American culture. Massachusetts is a Native American name. Popponesset is a Native American name. So my family and I used to go to Popponesset Beach all the time. And so the beach looks like this, and this is kind of what it would look like when we would visit. You go sit in the sun, go swim in the water. And in America, people don't use a lot of umbrellas. Most people will sit and enjoy the sunlight. Maybe use an umbrella a little bit. And we would bring like a cooler and something to wheel filled with food, your lunch, some drinks, some snacks, and stay on the beach for hours and hours and hours. Then one special part of Popponesset that my family really liked is something called the Popponesset Spit. Now that sounds funny. Pwee! No, not that spit. The Popponesset Spit is this piece of sand, this piece of beach that goes out into the ocean. I'm not sure how well you can see this, but all of this green is the land and the town of Popponesset. All around it, this is the ocean. So there's the ocean out here. There's a little bay on the inside. And the Popponesset Spit is this piece of sand that sticks out into the ocean. This is natural. People did not make this. So just the way the water from the bay and the water from the ocean, how they meet, it creates this sand spit. And you can see in this picture, people are hanging out on the beach here, but the beach goes all the way out to the right side. There's water on both sides. The bay on the left, the ocean on the right. So a really cool area. And my family, we would take a boat from the bay and then park on the end of the sand spit and relax on the beach. And because it was kind of hard to get to, you needed a boat to get there. It was a little bit more quiet and really a nice place to visit during the summer. So if you ever go to Massachusetts, go to Cape Cod. If you ever go to Cape Cod, try going to Popponesset. It's a really cool little town, and the beaches are beautiful. Okay? Now, what else do we have? So that's a good place for summertime. What if somebody wants to go get a snack or go shopping? Well, here in Taiwan, we have Tonghua Night Market. This is a night market I like, and so if a friend of mine was visiting Taiwan or Taipei, I might recommend Tonghua. And so, 1, give it a name. Your friend says, I want to go get a bite. I'm hungry. You could recommend this. And so you could say, if you're hungry, you could head to Tonghua Night Market. Okay? Easy peasy. So you could is giving them the choice. Yeah, maybe you want to, maybe you don't. Up to you. You should is a little stronger, right? You could, meaning there are lots of other choices too. Okay? And then describe it. Oop, hold on. Too quick. Describe it. It's a night market in Taipei that has lots of stands selling food and other fun stuff. So, tell me what it is. It's a night market. Where is it? In Taipei. Tell me more. That has lots of stands. What do the stands do? Selling food and other fun stuff. So it's a complicated sentence, but piece by piece you can describe this night market. It's a night market in Taipei that has lots of stands selling food and other fun stuff. So describe it. You can put all that stuff together. You could make a long sentence like that too, right? Niuza. Tonghua 有名的是牛杂. I'm not sure what 牛杂 is. I'll have to look it up later. But yeah, you could definitely use that as your detail. But you would have, for me, if you want to tell me, we'd have to do 1, 2, 3. Oh, 通化有名的是牛杂. So Tonghua Night Market is famous for 牛杂. But then 2, describe it. 牛杂 is blah 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 blah. So I'm not sure what that is. Maybe you can help me. So let's say you're recommending Tonghua Night Market to your friend. If you're hungry, you could head to Tonghua Night Market. Describe it. It's a night market in Taipei that has lots of stands selling food and other fun stuff. And then add details. Why do you like it? Well, for Duffy, you could say, oh, it has niuza, which is really good and famous. For me, I would say, I always get Taiwanese fried chicken when I go. So maybe you can get this in many, many places, but Tonghua Night Market has one really big fried food stand that has really good fried chicken. So I always get Taiwanese fried chicken when I go. And so make a personal connection, right? Tell about why you are recommending it. Now, if you go to the United States and you want something similar, what is something similar in Massachusetts? Let's say you're visiting Boston, and I might recommend to you Faneuil Hall. So this is an area in Boston that's really old and really famous. It's like a few hundred years old. And it's a really cool place. You can walk around, go shopping. And now this name looks kind of scary, right? If you try to look at the letters and read it, maybe you get confused. But don't worry about the spelling. This is hard for me to spell too. Just listen and then copy what you hear. This is Faneuil Hall. Okay? Faneuil Hall. So, your friend is visiting Boston, or you are visiting Boston. I might tell you, oh, if you're hungry, you could head to Faneuil Hall. Of course, we're using could again, because maybe yes, maybe no. You don't have to. If it's a strong recommendation, we could say should. Because Boston has so many good things to eat, I think this is just a choice. So let's use could. So if you're hungry, you could head to Faneuil Hall. And then your friend says, okay, what is Faneuil Hall? Tell me more. It's an indoor and outdoor market in downtown Boston. One famous part is called Quincy Market. So the thing about Faneuil Hall is it's indoor and outdoor. So inside these buildings, there are lots of little shops and stands. So both these buildings on the left and right in this picture. And outdoor, there are all these little stands and shops outside too. So it's an indoor and outdoor market in downtown Boston. And then one famous part is called Quincy Market. Once again, if you trust your eyes too much, you might say it wrong. This looks like Quincy Market, but in Boston, we say Quincy. It sounds like a Z. So copy what you hear, not what you see. Quincy Market, okay? And so Quincy Market is this building that is really cool. And it's really old. I think it's like a few hundred years old. So if you visit Boston, check out Faneuil Hall, and Quincy Market is one part of it. And then add details. You could add something personal or give someone an idea of what to do. There are a lot of little stands selling souvenirs. So you can see these little stands. They have wheels on them. They're kind of cute, right? So this is inside, and then this one on the bottom right is outside. And so you can find all these little stands selling souvenirs. A souvenir is something to help you remember your vacation, right? So there are a lot of little stands selling souvenirs. Make sure to get something to help you remember Boston. So if you go to Faneuil Hall, of course you can get a snack. You can also get some Boston souvenirs, like a t-shirt or like whatever. Lots of different stuff. And it's a really cool place. And maybe you could get a little lobster like this guy. If you visit Massachusetts, you're probably going to want to try some lobster, I bet. Okay. Yeah, so that's a good way to add some details. Tell them what is there. And remember, when you're telling what things are in a place, we want to use there are. Don't say there have, right? There are lots of little stands selling souvenirs, right? And one more little fun detail for Faneuil Hall is you should check out Faneuil Hall. You might get to see Keytar Bear performing outside. Oh my god, what the heck is that? So, Keytar Bear is really famous in Boston. And he's this guy who dresses up as a bear, and he plays a keytar. You might see him at Faneuil Hall. You might see him on the subway. And he jams out on his keytar. And it's a lot of fun. Now, what the heck is a keytar? Well, if you have a keyboard and a guitar, it's called a keytar. So it's part keyboard, part guitar. Keytar. And he stands and plays it like it's a guitar, but there are keys. So Keytar Bear is really famous, and keep an eye out for him if you ever visit Boston. And kind of a fun thing to do. So, yeah. When you're helping your friend think of where to visit or what to do, your friend might ask you these kinds of questions, right? Where do you think I should go? Where should I head to? What should I check out? What places do you recommend? Do you have any recommendations? And all you need to do is remember our 3 steps, right? Give it a name. So tell them the name of the place. Describe it. Say what it is and tell a little bit about it, the basic information. And then 3, add details. Maybe add some fun details like, oh, you can see animals there. Something extra or something personal, something about you, maybe your experience at that place, something that makes it special to you. And so I think if you follow these steps, that'll help you describe places anywhere. If you have friends visiting Taiwan, you can use these steps to give them advice. If your friend wants to visit somewhere you have visited before, like another country, you could use these steps to help give them ideas, right? And one of the best things about learning a language is being able to help your friends and tell them what you like and what you know about already, right? Sharing is the best part of learning a language, right? So yeah, those are some places that I really like in Taiwan, some places I really like in America, or some places that are really famous in America. And hopefully learning to describe these things has been helpful for you. And yeah, I would love to hear more about what places you really like, and I would love to hear you try to describe them a little bit. So give it a name, describe it, add some details, maybe some fun details or your experience, something connected to you and your feelings and what you really like about it. Okay? So yeah, if you have a place that you really like, please leave a comment and let me know. And then yeah, maybe I can help you fix your grammar in your description or something like that. So yeah, if you ever visit Massachusetts, make sure to check out Cape Cod. If you make it to Boston, make sure to visit Faneuil Hall and Quincy Market. And keep an eye out for Keytar Bear, okay? So I think we can wrap up here for today. Thank you everybody for joining. Have a good night. Bye-bye.